So between yesterday and today, I've spent a ton of time trying to look at ways I can actually improve these videos I make every day, particularly around letting there be like visible change and significant change from the initial set of videos to the newer ones I keep making. And the more I keep researching into like how other successful YouTubers do it, how people on YouTube do it, the more the realization hits me. You see this thing where you see the way someone does something in a way that feels so effortless, so smoothly, without any hiccups. Yeah. When you watch someone do that, you watch someone at a craft where they do something and it looks like it's so effortless. It looks like it's so seamless. It looks like it's so smooth. It looks like there's no hiccup. It looks like this is so well done. There's a trap you can fall into where you look at how so easy it is and you immediately think that this is something I should be able to do. I can do this thing myself. Simply because the way it happens in a way that this thing is so good that it looks so easy. Exactly. That's the word. It's so good, it's so effortless, it looks so easy. And you're like, I should be able to do this thing. And then you fall into that trap where you think like, no, now, this is something I can't do now. Let me give it a go, let me go at it and stuff like that. And what happens now is that you fall into that trap first. And on top of that trap, you then undermine the whole stuff. So you underrate it, you undermine it because of how good they are at this thing. So only when you get into it, you get right in the middle of it, you actually see that, oof, like this is actually bigger than you initially thought. It's bigger than anything you ever thought about. And all of the plans that the thoughts you're having in your head, okay, this how I'll do this, I'll do that. You just see that those things just come to naught because you suddenly realize that this is way bigger than I thought. And alas. And that just made two things very, very obvious to me. The first one is that your brain should automatically think first. The moment you find yourself in this position, the first thing you should try to train yourself to think is that this thing is never easy. It's not easy. It's just straightforward. If you see someone so effortless at something, the odds that it's easy is very slim. What this means is that this person has most likely put years and tons of training effort into this to get really, really this good. As a result of all those training and effort and hard work that you see, that you do not realize that makes these things look the way it is to you. And when you begin to think about it, you tend to really appreciate that this person must have gone through different obstacles and hurdles to keep at this thing for this long, to be able to so good at this craft. Another thing is that you want to immediately make yourself think about all the systems and processes that gone into play for that thing to work the way it's done. Because when you think about it, getting stuff done, being so good at a craft is never really a one man's job. It's never really one man to be able to get at it. You most likely involve a team of more than one person, and then each one of those team members are owning a piece of the process. You would then think that this process has been well meticulously crafted and refined times and times and times again. You get, so you want to really think of all the whole process, all the whole workflow, all the whole process that has actually gone into getting this kind of thing done. And then other than that, you also want to think about the number of iterations it's taking to get to a point where with enough accuracy, the outcome can be very, very reflective of the input. So for instance, immediately you see someone so good at a particular craft, you want to think of the amount of iterations they've gotten to be good at this point. You want to think of the amount of refining that's gone into the whole process for them to really get good at this point. The moment you think of things that way, you then realize that almost everything that you think of, you admire, you see, someone has gone through hard work, has put a lot of effort into that to make it work the way it works. That's one thing that's been very clear to me within the last 48 hours because I started to look at how can I improve this YouTube stuff to make this set of videos really better than the past. And at every single time, at every single interval, it's just been clear to me that these people that you admire, that are really huge on the platform, that are having tons of results, they put in wicked tons of effort. You don't even want to begin to think of the kind of effort they put in at all. You absolutely don't want to think of the kind of effort. They put in so insane ton of effort. They have a big team. It doesn't have to be as big as your team, but they have a team that is working hard tirelessly day and night to ensure that the work is really, really top quality. That's the best ever. It's top notch and all of that stuff. They have that kind of team. They have that kind of process that goes into play. And in a way, it also reminds you that Something as just YouTube, where you just open your phone, look at it, you scroll through a video and just watch. A lot of effort goes into it. Mad, insane effort. And then when I try to think of it, I just try to remind myself that, okay, this is the realization. It's not like I've not known this. It's something like your brain just like makes it reinforced. It becomes clearer and clearer to you time and time again. So it's not something that is entirely new. But then at the same time, I just try to let myself know that all of this information, I'm not unhearting it to overwhelm myself. That's not the purpose of this. The purpose is to unearth this. There's a science to this thing. There's a systemic way to this thing that makes stuff work. Where if I understand that science with time and time and time again, I can consistently put out a video through the wheel of that system and end up getting a very, very optimal result. But then I try to let myself know that the whole purpose of unearthing knowledge like this is not to overwhelm myself. It's basically to take that knowledge and do something with it. And that's where I start to think of all the little ways I can start to apply that. Because when you think of things like this, there are ways you can apply it on a smaller scale that can immediately give you better result than where you are now. So when you think of things like the quality of the scripting, the writing, the presentation, being on camera, the audio, the video, the thumbnail, just the whole packaging, when you think of things like that, if you think of each of them in themselves, there's a lot of effort that goes into them. But then when you try to do all of that, it becomes really overwhelming. But if there's a bit part of it, you can take a bit learning, apply to it, to your current context in a smaller scale that fits more of where you are, then you can be able to use all that knowledge to like get to a higher base than where you currently are. That's the mindset I'm in right now. So thinking of all the ways I can improve my efforts and work and output here on YouTube, and then hopefully when I start to implement those, you will be able to start to see noticeable and significant changes, and hopefully it speaks to you and you get good results. So yeah, there you have it. Thank you.